Hey there everybody, this is Colton with POSGuys.com, and every day we are fielding questions from customers who are asking us what the difference is between all the different versions of Epson's receipt printers, and especially their M-Series. And that's certainly fair. The M-Series is probably one of the more complicated lines. You know, there's a million different versions of the printers it seems, and they all have their own special little quirks. So what I'm going to go and do here today is we're going to take a look individually at each of the different printers in their lineup. So the M10, the M30s, and then the M50 line, and sort of break down the differences between all those models and all the different submodels and sort of tell you which one is best for which scenarios. So with that, I'm going to zoom you all in and let's get started. This is Epson's tablet-focused printer line, which means that this line of printers tend to have a little bit more of a modern cube type look, at least when compared to something like the T20 III. You know, they have a little bit of sharper edges, and for the most part, they all have Omnilink technology, with the exception of the M10. You're gonna see that word thrown around a little bit. Don't get too tripped up by it. Omnilink basically refers to a suite of features and capabilities built into the printer to enhance the functionality and connectivity of the receipt printer. So it's going to give you like some extra configuration options and introduces like a few extra ports on the back here so you can connect peripherals and whatnot. Peripherals being like barcode scanners, scales, customer displays, that sort of thing. Another big feature with the Omnilink series is something called server direct print, which is used pretty frequently. Essentially what it allows the printer to do is to retrieve print jobs from a web server and then print a receipt without requiring that printer to be connected to a POS application. So whether it be a tablet or a, you know, like a traditional desktop computer, you just got to connect this thing to the network and it'll reach out to a server and get routed out that way. And I'm going to pull these guys out of the way here for just a moment because we're going to deep dive next into on the M10. So this is unique because of just how tiny it is, as you could probably tell when compared to the M30. It is the only printer in Epson's lineup that does 2-inch print-wide printing, with the exception of some Omnilink printers. But it's the only non-mobile 2-inch printer. Technically, the T88s and the T20 lines ship with like a little plastic spacer that can kind of snap into the well, or the paper well, and kind of hold the 2-inch wide label, receipt rather. But this is the only thing that does it natively. As noted before, it's the only printer in their mobile line that lacks the Omnilink functions for like server direct print and all the other fancy stuff. It's also the only model that has kept the same model number since its release. So there's no M30II or M30III quite the same as there are with 30s, the T88-7s, and all the other printers. This screen can print at 5.9 inches per second and has a 1-year warranty. So in contrast to the M10, the M30 has quite a few variations of it baked in. Epson went a little crazy. So base-wise, there are 3 versions of the M30. There's the M30, the M32, and the M33. For the most part, all 3 of these are pretty similar, relatively speaking. Right now, the only thing that you can still purchase is the M30 III, at least purchase new. These 2 have been end of life, so you can't purchase them anymore. With that said, I will focus on them for just a little bit, because in addition to these 3 models, Epson made things a little bit trickier for us, because baked into the M30 are 3 additional submodels, most of them focused on the M32 here. The M30 didn't really have, it's just the M30. The big change in that model is that they kind of made it a little less glossy. They went from this like super shiny black to this, you know, this kind of powder coated black, for lack of a better term. So I'll move this guy out of the way because we're going to want a clean, sterile space when we start talking about the different models here, because it'll get crazy. It's a little bit of an information overload. So both the M32 and M30 III have a sub-variant called the -H model. So you have the M30IIH and M30iiH. The H there stands for hub, and that's the model that Epson recommends if you're looking to use the printer as a peripheral hub. Remember, that's the thing we talked about earlier, where you could plug in barcode scanners and receipt printer or in customer displays into the receipt printer, and then additionally charge the tablet if you want to. Technically, the base M30iii can do the same hub functionality, but the big difference with the H specific model is that you're going to get a few more USB ports with that model. So the H hub model comes with 4 USB ports. Those are USB-A, not to be confused with micro USB and all the other ones, as opposed to the 2 that you get on the traditional printer. So it's just going to give you a couple more hubs or ports to work with there. It is important to note here that the base M32 cannot act as a hub. Only the M32-H model can, as opposed to the M30iii, which can do it in the base model. Does that make sense? Okay, kinda. Let's step it up here just a little bit because we're going to throw the next thing at you. So in addition to the hub, there is also the M30ii-NT and the SL model. So we're up to 3 total subvariants of this printer. The NT model, so that's NT, stands for network tethering. And network tethering allows the printer to basically provide an internet connection to the tablet over a lightning cable when it's plugged in. So there's a little port in the back here. You plug that in, it's like a USB port. You can connect a lightning cable to an iOS device, and that's going to provide internet connection to the tablet. Now, it's not a super fast connection. You know, the upload and download speed isn't stellar, but it's enough for most point-of-sale applications. So obviously, you're not going to be able to like stream music and a bunch of other things with it, but it's way better than having to deal with an unstable Wi-Fi network. And that's kind of the whole idea, just to kind of provide some stability there. As you could probably guess by the fact that you need a lightning cable, this functionality, on the M32 line at least, is exclusive to iOS. The M30iii doesn't have a specific networking model. It's kind of just baked into the base model of the M30iii. And the M30iii-H, the hub model, can also do network tethering. The big upgrade with that is that both of these models can support that with Android as well, so not just iOS. So, you know, at this point, you probably don't even really need to look at the M32. You're probably good just to stick with the M30iii because it does most everything baked into a single model. Finally, rounding this off on the subvariants is the M30ii-SL. It's kind of a funky looking model that has a tablet holder built into the unit. Otherwise, it's basically an M32-H. There's really nothing else to it. So there you go. That's the M30iii. Congratulations, you have made it. Finishing us off on the mobile line is the M50 and the M52. I don't have an M50 here physically to show, so I'll use this because they look pretty similar. The M50 is a little bit bigger, but I'll also throw up some photos to keep it a little bit interesting. So if the M30 is the tablet version of the T20iii, the M50 is the tablet version of the T88. It's clocking in at 19.5 inches per second, and it's going to come with a 4-year warranty, so that's aligned with the T88.5. It's also an Omnilink printer, similar to the M30 and T88, so you're going to get that server direct print functionality. But notably, the base M50 doesn't come with the network tethering or the tablet charging function that the M30 did. The M52 does have an H variant that supports both of these functions, however, and will come with the 4 USB-A ports. You can't even really purchase the base M50 anymore, so just worry about that M52. And again, that's 2 with Roman numerals, not the number 2. They make it a little bit confusing. Outside of print speed, the M52 also has a longer lifespan than the M30iii. The print head on the M50 is rated to print for about 124 miles of receipt printing before it will start to break down, compared to 93 miles on the M30 III, which even 93 is pretty good, but the M50 is just doing it a little bit better. The auto cutter on the M50 is also built to make about 2.2 million cuts before it fails, compared to the M30's 1.5 million cuts. So about 700,000 more cuts there. So if you're a high volume retail or restaurant location, sort of doing a tablet setup, the M50 is probably the best option for you, but you can't go wrong with the M32, or the M30 as well. I should probably be careful about that. So yeah, that is the mobile lineup in a nutshell. All right, you made it. Congratulations. I hope you're doing okay. That was a lot of information to throw at you all at once, but I hope that you have a little bit of a better understanding what the differences between all these different printers are and which one might work best for you. We're gonna post a link in the description below to all the same information that we covered in a blog post format, so that you can kind of digest in your own schedule. But if you have any questions and you want to talk to a real person and help see what's best for you, our email and our phone number are on the screen now. Go ahead and reach out to us with one of those two ways, and we would be more than happy to help. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.